Your videos suck. You think your videos are good, but they suck. They just do. The sooner you learn how to make good, great videos that people actually want to watch, the sooner you'll get views. Disruption. What is up, everybody? My name is Ricky, and welcome back to Creative Disruption. This is my co-host, Daryl, and today should be an amazing episode. Take it away, Daryl.
Daryl's fired, and I'm Ricky, by the way. Welcome, everyone. Again, super excited to have Jimmy on. A lot has happened, Jimmy, since you've been on, what was it, like 2 years ago? A little over 2 years?
Yep. Yeah, before this we were looking. I came on here, it felt like 10 years ago, but apparently I came on here February 20th, 2020. So a little over 2 years, and it's pretty crazy how much stuff has changed since then.
Well, I think just our dialogue together has changed significantly because you were exploding at that point. People already considered you the GOAT of YouTube. But today, you're way bigger than you were 2 years ago. I think 2 years ago, you were close to just a little over 10% of the size that you are collectively across your followers today, which is, I believe, over like 260 million followers.
Yeah, something like that. We have like 205 on YouTube, and then, probably another 100 on everything else. Yeah, it's been pretty crazy.
No, that is amazing. And it's one of those things where, I remember asking you the amount of employees you had, and you said, around a dozen and some contractors. How many employees do you have now?
Oh gosh. Well, I mean, the thing is, certain videos, like, when we recreated Squid Game, like that video alone, we had like 150, or no, we had 130 just like construction contractors. Over 200 people worked on that video. So it's
my gosh,
we pull in a lot of people, and even things like, there's a lot of jobs that, like, I might not own the merch company I work with, but still that supplies tons of jobs. And this thing I do supplies tons of jobs. So there's also a lot of inadvertent jobs, but actual full-time people is probably somewhere between 80 and 100 across, like, all our MrBeast companies.
That's amazing. And are most of those employees in Greenville?
Actually, I've never had anyone ask me that. So our gaming channel is almost all remote, and that has, like, probably like 25 different people. We only have like one person here. Our Reacts channel is all remote, except for like one or two people, and that is like a dozen plus people. So, no, I mean, it's probably 50-50, honestly.
Well, I'll just say this. I think, we've chatted before where I was very impressed with certain YouTubers a couple years ago of having a bunch of employees, having their own little studios. But going to North Carolina and checking out all the stuff that you're building just blew my mind. It literally, Greenville, North Carolina, is turning into a small Hollywood, so to speak. I mean, I hope you don't mind me mentioning this, but there's one studio that has like 40,000 square feet, and there's another new studio that you're already starting to use that has like over 68,000 square feet.
Yeah, that's because I'm a big fan of Steve Jobs, so we call it Apple Park. That's our new campus, and so we're building tons of studio space there which I probably said this same thing 2 years ago, but one of the biggest bottlenecks for creating large scale videos is just space. And you wouldn't think that. It's and I think a lot of YouTubers, as they're scaling up and more people want to be like us and do these big projects, they're gonna realize, like, if you want to upload, let's just say you want to upload every week. And these big videos take months to create. We'll be conservative and say like 2.5 months. That means, like, for you to upload next week, you had to been working on that video 2.5 months ago and all these other videos. So you basically have to be working on like 7 or 8 videos at a time. And if one video takes up, which most creators don't even have a warehouse. But let's assume you have one warehouse, and one of those videos takes up that entire warehouse. How do you work on the other 7 videos? You know what I mean? Like, if you do world's hardest maze and you build a maze in your warehouse, you still have 7 other videos you got to work on so you can upload the next 7 months. And so space becomes a bottleneck really quickly as these projects get bigger and bigger and bigger. And sometimes it's not an entire video or one video that takes up your whole studio, but 2 or 3 of them still. Like, the point is, you got to be working on many videos at the same time to be able to upload every week, or some people try to upload twice a week. And it just, that's where we are. And so we have like 3 or 4 different studios currently, and we're always building more because, weirdly enough, space is a bigger bottleneck than you'd think.
How many acres have you purchased?
100 acres surrounding the campus. Yeah. So it's going to become eventually, assuming we can remain relevant, we can just keep reinvesting, going bigger and bigger. I'd love to get more YouTubers around me. I'd love to just make this giant fairy tale campus of just content producing machine. You know what I mean? And even maybe have an incubator or places where other people can come in and film videos as well as more people come in locally. And yeah, it's crazy, man. Just the difference building our like I said, Apple Park, my giant warehouse, has made is insane, because we can, that thing, like you said, it's like 50,000 square feet of studio space, and then like another 10-20,000 of office space. And with that studio space, we can just work on like 2 or 3 videos in there at the same time. And it's just been great.
In 10 years from now, I'm not going to be surprised if you have your own Disneyland, to be frank.
Nah, I mean, that's the goal.
The stuff that you're accomplishing, I think most creators don't even imagine accomplishing right now. You've taken it to that level. And I would say in addition to that, very, let's say high-functioning production companies that do, let's say, reality TV or unscripted, I don't think they, even process the nut that you've cracked when it comes to logistics and operations, to have all these projects happening at this level at the same time, but to also have as quick of a gestation period where you have a quick turnaround where, you do something that takes a lot of resources, a lot of people, and you turn around in just a month or 2 months.
It's hard. It's really hard. People underestimate how hard this stuff is. Yeah, I mean, you keep going, but yeah, it's more difficult.
How do you
than
keep pushing those boundaries? Because it feels like every year it gets more and more intense and more and more complicated. And and I remember in our last podcast, you mentioned that one day you would hope you would have videos that cost more than $1 million. You mentioned Squid Games, where you had like 200 people on that.
Did I really say that in the last podcast? I did. Actually, I used to say that all the time. You just reminded me of that. I'm getting so much deja vu right now. People used to be like, when I was spending like $100,000 a video, people would be like, so this isn't sustainable. You can't get it bigger and bigger. And I was like, I remember telling people, I was like, no, there's going to be a day where I'm spending over $1 million a video. And people thought I was crazy. They're like, no way you could ever sustainably, like, every video spend $1 million. It doesn't even like make sense, Oh my gosh, you're giving me so many flashbacks to that.
No, it's amazing to see like what you've accomplished in that area. And
$1 million is like a cheap video at this point for us.
What's the most you spent on a video? Just out of curiosity.
The Squid Game video was supposed to be $2 million. And then it's like, you're writing it, you're changing things. This is bigger than you thought. This is bigger, and then it's 2.5 million. And then all of a sudden it's 3 million. And then you're like, oh wait, we want to give all the contestants $1,000 for competing. So now it's 3.5 million. And then it goes a couple of days longer, and like, a lot of people don't know if they can stay, and so then you pay them a little extra, and all these little things just like add up, and like, yeah, it ended up being like a little over $4 million.
That's amazing. And most, I mean, this for all the people that are listening, most production companies don't get that for a single episode on Netflix or like the major streaming platform. That's amazing to see that, YouTube, which is still a young platform, is generating talent that is figuring out how to push boundaries. And
our video I'm filming in a couple of days is like, I got a cruise ship. Which is not cheap. We're putting 100 random subscribers on it because I'm about to hit 100 million subscribers. So to celebrate 100 million subscribers, got a cruise ship, putting 100 subscribers on it. I'm taking them on the cruise ship to a private island, and they're competing for the private island, and the winner gets the private island.
That's amazing.
And so like that video, between the cruise ship, getting them out there, I mean, it's like 200-person crew that we're bringing out there to the, because you got the 100 subscribers, you got to have backups, you got to have medics, our production crew, editing, dozen camera people, my talent, me, the boys, PA, like it's like crazy, all that. Plus we got to fly them all out to the island and all this stuff. It's like it's gonna be like 3.5 to 3.8 million dollars for just my 100 million subscriber video. And so it's like those big budget videos are becoming way more common. Like, and then the video we're filming right after that is we are recreating Willy Wonka's chocolate factory in real life, which I think is phenomenal. Because we launched our chocolate bar, Feastables, and that sold like crazy. And we put like 10 mystery tickets in 10 different bars. We're flying them out, and they're competing for a chocolate factory. And that one, I'm not as in the weeds on that video, but I know it's minimum is going to be like $2 million, probably much more, because we had to buy a chocolate factory, and currently they're in there just renovating it, and like you're just doing. I don't even know how to explain it. I mean, like we're having to create trees out of candy.
So you bought a chocolate factory. Did you buy the cruise ship too?
No. The cruise ship we rented. We're not that crazy.
Well, go on. So what went into this buying this chocolate factory?
Yeah, so we got a factory, and then it took forever because we had to find the right size factory. There's some that are more vertical, some that are more sideways, obviously, and we found one that I was like, yeah, this is within the budget. Obviously, if I had unlimited money, I could have gone and bought like a $20 million factory or warehouse, and it would have been crazy. But I have some type of constraints, so it was really finding something that I could buy for like $1 million and then just renovate, as opposed to buying something like that's 5 to 10 million. So we finally found it. And then, we're mapping out. We're like, okay, here's where the chocolate river should go. Here's where the candy trees are. Here's where they should walk in. Here's how we're going to redesign the outside so it looks like Willy Wonka and all this stuff. And one of the bits we're making like the world's largest can of Coca-Cola. And one of them it's cool. It's going to be a really good video. But yeah, they're getting pretty crazy price-wise. I don't know. But also which I can't tell you how much I'm getting per brand deal, but brand deals for us have just gone up so much year over year to levels where I never thought they would get this high. So that's also helped offset it. And also just our views have gone up crazy, where it's like, a lot of these videos are going to get 100 million views. So it just, it's kind of crazy. It feels insane.
Compared to like working with brands a couple of years ago, how has the process evolved in a more positive way working with brands? Have they become more empowering of the content that you're creating?
Well, they definitely are more like, hey, you know what you're doing. You don't have to fully read off this script. Like, here's the things we kind of want you to hit, but you have more freedom, which has been great. But the other thing is it's just like more and more brands are just entering the space, which has been cool, because it used to just be like, the same companies over and over again. I mean, you could list them better than me, but it's like Honey sponsored a lot of people, and like these other ones, you could probably list like on your two hands, like the companies that are spending like big bucks, and you would see like across all these YouTubers. And now it's just like, I don't know, we're getting hit from basically unlimited companies. It's really more who do you want to work with, which is kind of cool.
No, that's amazing. And it's amazing that it's finally happening. There's 700 billion being spent on media annually, and a lot of that has obviously gone to more traditional media. But this creator economy is so much bigger than traditional media is today, like compared to like TV, like YouTube is
I think
way
the
bigger
analogy
than
you use all the time is like sponsoring a YouTube video is not the same as buying a commercial in, like, we'll say hypothetically the NFL, because the NFL, Tom Brady isn't pausing the game, looking at the camera and going, drink this soda. I love this soda. I highly advise you drink this soda for 30 seconds straight. No, you're getting an ad jammed in between a dozen other ads. Like, why did you buy that when you could get equal, if not more, viewership for way cheaper on YouTube? And it's literally just a break in the video from the person that they feel a connection with. Of course the conversion's way higher.
Well,
it's unfathomable.
And that's one of those things that avoid the 90% of people that skip ads, and the 50% of people that have an ad blocker. And you're actually making art. You're empowering art to be created, which I think is just I'd say it's the only form of collaborating with artists or content creators or advertising where the brand, the creator, and the audience are all happy with the end result if you do it the right way, where everyone reaches a consensus and everyone feels empowered, and then you're going to get higher conversions and higher viewership as a result of it.
Exactly. And on top of that, if they use that money to make the content even better, which they should, then it's just like a triple win-win.
Oh, for sure. Well, I think we're going to be seeing that 700 billion shifting over drastically in the next couple of years. I think it's already organically happening, where you have limitless brands are already knocking on your door. That's just going to be, the new normal. And brands are trying to figure out now, how do they change their processes? How do they navigate, working with, herding, let's say, creators or cats at scale? Because it is a different process. It can
or
be
you can
more
just sponsor me. Just throw your budget at me. I'll take it.
MrBeast can take on all the brand.
I mean, just sponsor MrBeast Gaming Beast Reacts. There you go.
Yep.
Just hand me your budget.
We've seen a huge amount of growth on TubeBuddy, where when we first acquired TubeBuddy, there was a little over 5 million users, and now there's over 10 million users in just a year and a half years. A lot of these creators are starting to just start their careers. I'm assuming some are going to be growing up on YouTube like you did. With your career as a creator. what advice would you give yourself, let's say 7 years ago when you were starting out, that could potentially help these millions of
you're gonna have to guide me in a direction, because I could give infinite advice is the answer. I mean, I don't even know.
What are like the top 2 things that just come to mind that you wish you would have known 7 years ago?
Your videos suck. You think your videos are good, but they suck. They just do. And the sooner you learn how to make great videos that people actually want to watch, the sooner you'll get views. I think is the biggest takeaway. Because like when I was 14, I thought my videos were the best in the world. They weren't. They're terrible. Many people are making way better videos than me, but I didn't think that. And I think, to be successful, you kind of have to have a little bit of that ego where you're like, my content's great and you got to believe in it. But also, like, if you have sub 1,000 subscribers, like, there's a good probability your videos just suck. They just do. And you need to make hundreds of videos or 100 videos. I don't know. Depends on the difficulty of your videos. Improve something every time and just like get to the point where they don't. Because like I very rarely like see someone. Sorry, there's a fly in here. That's like making great level videos consistently, time and time again, year in year out, and they don't take off. Like it's very rare. Like usually, I don't know. Like the videos are just boring, or the ideas are repetitive, or it's something we've seen before. But like, I don't know. Like name one person who's doing original ideas, giving it his all. Like they're very well edited, great story, great retention, great pacing. Boom, 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 consistently week after week for 2 years that didn't blow up. Like I don't know. In my opinion, it's pretty hard to find. And so just that. Like when you make good content, you'll blow up. It's not the algorithm. It's not anything. It's just like me and most people who are in my position, you just make terrible videos, and that's okay, because you got to make a bunch of videos and improve over time to be great. Like you don't just pick up a baseball and become an MLB level athlete within a year. It takes many, many, many years, and YouTube's kind of the same way, unless you're just like someone like Emma Chamberlain or Liza or these other people that just have phenomenal personalities, and like then it's a little bit easier. But for those of us who don't have the best personalities, it takes a while to develop that stuff. Yeah.
Creative disruption, has had a hard go in how fast it's growing, but I'm just leaning on my personality, because I think me as a spring chicken, I'm doing a lot of good.
Let me see. Creative disruption.
No.
Why are you guys only on 13K subscribers? What are you doing? No, bro, you had Hacksmith on here and it got 150 views. Jeez, bro, what are you? You have Brett Rivera, 600 views. Bro, Zach King 2000. Bro, we gotta work on your strategy.
I think the thing that's falling short that both Daryl and I agreed on is that we never upload.
Yeah, it's been like 4 months without one.
I'm thankful that you've agreed to be my personal coach in growing this channel. You have as much accountability as me. and so I guess my question for you, the process will be refined over time as you keep optimizing and getting more and more aware of how things must improve. What are you doing, when you look at data? Like how does looking at the data come into all of this? Like, is there any personal advice that you have for?
It wouldn't be a Ricky talk if data wasn't brought up. This guy's the biggest YouTube data nerd I've ever met. So like, how am I using it to make educated decisions?
Yeah.
I mean, you got the obvious stuff, like but see, I feel bad because I feel like anyone who's listening to this podcast, since it's so niche, already knows retention, study the retention chart and fix it. And so honestly, I upload a video, I check the retention, I'm like, okay, how could I have done this better? And then I'm like, all right, is the thumbnail as good as possible? Check the CTR, and besides that, that's mostly it. I mean, you can go infinitely more in depth, but for me, those are really the only two things this fly won't go away. I got it. I need to just determine whether or not a video is good. It's like, did people click it and did they watch it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but like when it comes to retention, that's obviously really important, because that's where you get.
Are you gonna open the can of worms? How can you get better retention?
Yes, please.
Okay. Well, that's where I don't know, man. I could tell you a million things. You can go down. There's another fly apparently. Infinite rabbit holes. I mean, everyone knows the basics. You hook people at the beginning, but we really should drill this home, because like if you look at any of your retention charts on any videos, you're losing like 30% of your viewers in the first 30 seconds. And then hopefully if your videos don't suck, they level off. But like imagine if you only lost 15% of those viewers or 10%, like the number one thing is like retaining as many people as possible at the start. It's like envision a chart where you lose 35% of your viewers in the first 30 seconds, and then envision one where you only lose 20%. That's 15% more people that are watching, throughout the video than not. And it's not like you made the whole video like a bunch better. You just had a more strategic intro that hooked them. I'm struggling to put this into words and like to really impose how important that is, but like that 15% difference in viewership really does make the difference between hypothetically like 2 million views on a video and like 10 in my head. And so yeah, like hook the heck out of people, assure them what they clicked on isn't clickbait, get right into it, and over deliver. Those are kind of the big things.
No, that thank you for sharing that. No, it's interesting. That's very consistent with our head of research in AI. That team has been focusing on retention models, on figuring out, okay, how do you increase a view-through rate, et cetera. Mm-hmm. And they said that the first 10 seconds is extremely important on getting more people to watch the entire video. When did the light bulb turn on, where you realize, okay, like in order to retain people, we need to do X, Y, and Z? Is there an inflection point, in your career?
No, it was very, very gradual. I've been doing this for 10 years, so I couldn't tell you if it was year 5 or year 8, but somewhere along the way, I realized it, and then we've just been honing it for the last, more hardcore the last like 4 or 5 years. And it's just like, it's the thing, like that's the beauty of YouTube is there's no such thing as perfection. You can always learn, you can always improve. Your videos can always be better. Even here, where we're spending $3 to $4 million on some videos, and I have giant teams, and I've 10 years in researching this, and I have no life, and I still like learn stuff all the time. When I talk to my YouTube friends, they'll teach me things, like even little things like having better lighting at the beginning is better for retention, right? Like this guy, one of my friends, he went through and he mapped out all his intros where it was like darker, like kind of dark, like he would film in a closet or like somewhere where there wasn't as good lighting, and compared him to videos where he had just phenomenal lighting, very evenly lit skin and bright. And the ones with better lighting, there was a clear correlation that had less viewer drop off. And that makes a lot of sense. Not everyone's phone's all turned all the way up, or everyone has perfect vision, or it's like fully paying attention. And like the brighter colors just do grab you and grab your attention. It's easier to see, blah blah. And like that's something like I'm just gonna wake up one day and be like, you know what? We're gonna compare the brightness or the retention on our videos with intros that have dark intros to our videos with bright. It's like, no, like that's not something I would have thought of. But it's like I'm always learning things because I just surround myself with freaking natures that just study the dumbest stuff, and they just always teach me things, And so anyways, that's kind of the beauty of YouTube is there is no end game. It's like, I'm about to hit 100 million subscribers, and I feel like we're just getting started. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's going to be more iterations that come.
Yeah, most people would think like, 100 million is the goal, the end point. Like I think one day people will have 1 billion subscribers, and even then, whoever hits 1 billion first, their videos could still be way better because there's no such thing as a perfect video, and that's kind of the beauty of it.
Sure. Well, you've branched out and you started different channels, and which that impresses me more than anything because you have already so much going on with the main MrBeast channel. They're very expensive videos, and you've continued to be very consistent in uploading those channels where I think a lot of creators in the past, they found lower hanging fruit opportunities that were less expensive, and they've honed in and focused on those content types. What's the process for you to find a market fit for a new channel? You have a gaming channel, you have a React channel, you have channels in different languages.
And we have the Philanthropy channel as well.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. We just go down the list. Gaming, it's just a no-brainer. I mean, my audience, I used to do the videos where we donate to Twitch streamers. We have very gaming-heavy humor. Gaming was just like, there's a clear correlation. A lot of my viewers play video games. So, like, that just, like, was an obvious no-brainer to get into gaming. And then Reacts, I don't know. Honestly, like, I just like hanging out with Chris, and like when me and him react to stuff, it's just so funny. Chris has such a good personality, and when you put us together, we just start idiots. And obviously, Reacts is one of the largest verticals on YouTube. It's relatively easy, and I like using the money to fund the main channel videos. Like this 100 million island video isn't going to make $3.8 million, but hopefully Reacts this month, makes $500,000 profit, and then I take that money and that helps subsidize that video. And so Reacts is just a good way to generate revenue to fund the main channel stuff. And then the Philanthropy channel, I don't know. That's just kind of fun. I enjoy helping people. It's, we 100% of all the revenue generated on the channel, merch, brand deals, ad revenue, we use to just feed people or do good. We don't take any profit. If anything, I lose money because I still pay like $50,000 a month to run the channel, which is fine. And yeah,
let's talk more about that. I mean, where do you think, this is going to progress with the creator economy and the creator community? How are creators going to continue to drive impact? I mean, you have this channel that's obviously doing great, but you also did Team Trees, where you raised more than $20 million to plant, 20 million trees. You did Team Seas, where you were able to help collect over 30 million pounds of trash, raising over 30 million, which
we also did Team Bees. Did you see that one?
No, I'm not very familiar with Team Bees.
that was a lie. I was hoping you'd be like, yeah.
Well, no, I believe you and I have talked about bees in the past, though.
Yeah, I don't think enough people care about bees, though. There's probably better causes, but
I once got attacked by a whole hive of bees.
Did you kill any of them?
They probably died when they stung me because they're honeybees.
Team Bees would be ashamed.
Yeah, they would.
Yeah, we did do Team Trees, Team Seas. Actually, like, the beauty of those campaigns is we never turned them off. So like, people can still donate, and every dollar donated, a tree is still planted. So Team Trees is almost on 24 million trees, which is pretty crazy. What's Team Seas on? Yeah, and then Team Seas is on 32.5. So yeah, basically, we started the campaign. Most people have probably heard of it, where every dollar donated was a tree planted, and then we followed it up with the sea. Every dollar donated, we pulled a pound of trash. By we, I mean we partnered with some charities, pulled a pound of trash out of the ocean. Crazy. I know. What's interesting though is you would think, like, because of the wild successes of both of those, 55 million basically raised for those charities between Team Trees and Team Seas, you would think more people would kind of copy it and do it, but I don't know. And honestly, maybe I just haven't been paying attention, but I haven't seen anyone try to like emulate the success. You know what I mean? Like, it's clear if you get enough influencers together around something their viewers care about, like, people will respond, and you can do crazy stuff. Yeah, I mean, it shows the power of influencers, and also shows just like how much viewers actually care. You know what I mean? When you give them an ability to do something good, you're like, hey, yeah, because like a lot of people want to help the environment, but like, they don't know what to do, like go buy a shovel and plant a tree, so when you're like, hey, here's a way you can help. For every dollar, the Arbor Day is going to plant a tree, then they respond. And so that was really cool to see.
I think it has to start with the creators, because there are now thousands of charities knocking on the doors of thousands or millions of different creators. And obviously most of those projects don't have the impact of a Team Trees or Team Seas.
No. I mean, the thing is, it's like the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge too. It's like, it's much easier for me to just go open up my Twitter DMs and just DM 500 creators and get like 200 responses than it is for some charity to email 500 creators and maybe get one response, And so that's just the sad reality. You know what I mean? It's just like, that's just how it works.
At TubeBuddy and Ben, we were very lucky to be able to also volunteer, be a part of that program.
Oh yeah, with Team Seas.
Yeah,
yes.
with Team Seas. And that was a lot of fun. The first hour, there was over like 5,000 creators that ended up making a video. And then I think it's well over, 30,000 now of all like the videos that were uploaded around it. And what's so interesting is, we work with tens of thousands of creators a year doing, brand deals, or, obviously we help millions of creators.
So you're rich.
No.
But, keep going.
Our whole mission and vision is to make it where we're going to architect the creator economy to broaden the middle class of creators. And
I know he tells me that literally 10 times a month. He's like, the middle class. Like, I get it. Yeah, I get it.
Well, it's important. It's important because there's only like 2% above the poverty line right now that are creators.
Aww.
And it's going to be very exciting, I think, to see as those media budgets shift over, where there's going to be a lot more diverse expression across a lot of different genres, and I think that's something that excites me.
And that's why we have Ben Entertainment.
Yes, we have Ben and TubeBuddy. But it was interesting as we were like working on that Team Seas. Obviously there was no creators paid to be a part of that. but
Nope.
because you and Mark like really like started the initiative and got people just excited, you had tens of thousands of creators that are like, hey, we want to be a part of this. Do you see in the future bigger projects like this happening?
Yeah, 100%. And I agree. It is important that it was creator homegrown, because it's like when we message people, and also thank you guys for helping us blast out emails and reach out to people. That did help bring in a lot of smaller creators and volume, which is important. So it doesn't just look like a top thing. It also, we had people from all sizes doing videos, which was great.
Right.
But yeah, like, none of the creators were like, oh, how much money are you going to pay me? What's in it for me? It's like almost all of them, we were like, hey, Team Trees did well. We're doing Team C's. We want to help the ocean. Like, are you down to make a video on it? And they were just like, sure, when. That the question was when, not how much, which is very beautiful to see. And like, I can't think of a single negative experience I had with someone besides them just not responding to my message, which is fine. They might not have saw it. With Team C's, like creators are awesome, honestly.
Yeah, no, for sure. And hopefully, this catches on as a trend where it's not, just you and Mark Rober, doing this, but where you have thousands of creators figuring out how to do this. And I think that is happening.
Agreed.
I think it's happening a lot, specifically in gaming and live streaming. But I'm excited just to see that trend, pick up, because with all the
because I hate Mark Rober, and I don't want to have to work with him. So please, someone else take this stuff over. I'm kidding.
What are you the most excited about? Like when it comes
I love
to
how you're talking about a topic, and then I always cut you off mid-sentence to say something stupid, and then you're like, "Huh, I forgot what I was saying." This guy won't stop cutting me off.
That's the problem with me being ADHD.
Yeah, what am I most excited about? I don't know, man. Everything. It's beautiful seeing YouTube still growing year over year. Like you said, more money's coming in. Everything. I do think we're due for some people to like come in and like really do something different. I don't know if you feel it, but YouTube, I don't want to say stale. There's more creators than ever, and there's a lot of people doing unique stuff, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm ready to see like what that next wave is. You know what I mean? And so that would be interesting, because there always is another wave. You think like, oh no, people are too solidified. There's all these big creators, and then someone always comes up, and I still think, like, I think the last wave was basically like the TikTokers and and all that stuff. And like I feel like we're due for something else, and I'm excited to see like what, or maybe it was like the Dream SMP. They came after the TikTokers, and they had a huge impact. But like, you know what I mean? I want to see like what's next.
Well, you had the Vine invasion, when you had all the Vine creators like Logan Paul and Zach King. Well, Zach King actually originally started on YouTube.
Well, it was like vlogs, and then it was the Vine invasion, and then they like kind of like coupled the vlog era that was before them, where the Casey Neistats and the Roman Atwoods, and then it was the Vine invasion vlogs. Agreed. And then I don't know.
Now
what
you have
came
like the
after
TikTok.
Well, no, in between there was definitely like kind of like the challenge era, where like we really blew up, and a bunch of other people. We're probably missing an era or two somewhere in there, because that was a really long time frame. Like between the Vine invasion and TikTokers was like 6 years, and I don't think the only thing that happened there was like, challenge videos.
Well, I think it's hard to keep track of all the eras, because there's these areas and these categories, but there's millions of videos being uploaded every hour, tens of millions, where it's kind of hard to keep track of all the different.
I guess we're specifically talking about English entertainment-based videos. Yeah. Because like obviously, what is it? Isn't more views coming out of India every day now than America? So by all means, we're talking about eras. Like we should be talking about eras in their language, because our eras are irrelevant. We're not even the number one language on YouTube anywhere, or maybe the number one language, but number one country. And so yeah. But yeah, the point is, what I'm most excited for, I'm excited to see who's on the come up and who's about to like really shake things up, because I feel like things are getting a little stale. Like we're due for some fresh stuff,
No, that I think would be exciting. It's interesting, there's these different eras, but there are also a bunch of bubbles when it came to like the industry of the creator economy, or with working with creators and influencers. And it seemed like, every like 3 years there's a bubble, like the MCM bubble, the platform bubble. There's all these different bubbles. And where I get excited is to figure out what is going to be an up and coming platform, or an existing platform that actually competes with YouTube when it comes to rev share? I mean, do you have any like guesses or thoughts on who you think is going to come in and start really competing?
We'll have to see it. We'll have to see some semblance. I mean, these stupid creator funds are just dumb. And yeah, I guess for the lower income people, it's better than nothing, obviously. But yeah, that will be interesting because that you hit it on the head. That's the thing that separates YouTube from anyone, and that's why all roads still point to YouTube. It's like doesn't matter how many followers you have on TikTok. If you're making $100,000 a month on TikTok, you'd be making $2 million a month on YouTube.
Sure.
And that's just it. YouTube's where the money is.
Well, did you see what happened with like Zach King early on? And I'm sure things must have changed since. Zach, good person. We've had him on the podcast. Biggest male.
Wait, you had him on the podcast?
Yeah.
We
got about 500 views on that one on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm scrolling down.
Probably more on the podcast platforms.
Oh no, you got 2,000 views.
Okay, great.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I wasn't one of those 2,000 that got on their homepage. Sorry.
So with like Zach, the TikTok announced that fund. It sounds really big aesthetically. Like when you think, oh, over $1 billion, that's great. But Zach, who at one point has gotten videos that have gotten billions of views. Harry Potter.
That Harry Potter TikTok was the most viewed TikTok on the platform like a couple months ago. It might still be, to be honest.
And he, I don't know if you saw it come out publicly how much he was making a week, but it was nothing.
How much?
It was under $100 a week.
No, I've made more than that. My TikTok has made like $25,000 throughout the Creator Fund, and I've only been on it maybe like a year. And there's no.
And how many views do you think you get a month on TikTok? Do you have that on you?
A couple 100 million, but there's no world that it pales in comparison to Zach.
Yeah, and so it was low. And again, I didn't hear this from Zach's mouth. It was. I'll share the report on that. I'll put it in the description. But it's just insane. And that's the thing is, $1 billion sounds like a lot, but it's pennies when you look at how big this economy is, how many creators there are. Yeah. There's over 50 million self-described content creators. It's really easy for that to become slim pickings really quickly. And so if there's a new platform that was on the rise, like what do they need to do to catch the attention of creators, other than obviously having an audience on that platform? What do they need to do from a rev share perspective?
I couldn't tell you, man. I can tell you how to make great YouTube videos, but yeah, I don't. And it's funny because I know you study platforms all the time and you're hyper obsessed because you're trying to help people make as much money as possible. Mm-hmm. But for me, I wake up and I just obsess over how to make the best videos possible. So, as long as they're helping me make money so I can make better content, that's all I really care about.
I personally, there was a time where I was considering starting a live streaming app 10 years ago. And it was funny when I talked to a lot of different creators, and I ended up not doing that. I focused on a different perspective, and that was, focusing on data around outcomes from
being
videos.
A nerd.
Yeah, I'm a data nerd, self-proclaimed. But it was funny as we were shopping around this idea of launching this live streaming app. It was pretty amazing to see how many creators were willing just to jump on it, and they said, "Wait, you'll give me a bigger rev share? You'll give me 70% rev share? Yes, I'm in. I'll start uploading videos immediately." And so back then,
but now all that's irrelevant because TikTok and YouTube. Why not just live stream there for organic promo?
100%. And I knew that all these FANG businesses, these major platforms, were going to be coming into this area, and so I knew not to compete there. However, there was such an appetite for creators to have another option where they could take their audience and make sure they can better monetize it. And so I agree. I think that it is time for a new competitor to come out and really level up monetization so people can make money. But
I'm good. I'm fine with YouTube ruling forever. I love YouTube. I love this platform. I've dedicated my life to it. If no one else wants to split revenue and they all want to be greedy, so everyone keeps coming to YouTube, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, well, you figured out how to be the GOAT of YouTube, 100%.
Yeah, so that's fine.
But do you think there's a chance that a TikTok can come out and have a more aggressive rev share?
Of course. Well, option? No. There's no world where any of these companies are giving more than YouTube, because YouTube gives 55% to the creator and only takes 45%. Zero shot. Like TikTok's gonna come out and be like, we're giving 60% of our revenue that up to this point we've kept all to ourselves. Like, no world where that happens.
I don't know. I think there needs to be an investment made on that level. Personally,
I mean, yeah, obviously that would be wonderful for creators. It'd be the best thing that could ever happen. It'd help so many people that are earning hardly any money, like, just be able to pursue what they love full time. It'd be phenomenal. It'd change unfathomable amount of lives. But still, there's just no world where they're going to do it. More realistically,
there's probably
50,
more
50.
brand collabs on like the TikToks and the Instagrams right now, because it's much more quick turn. It's easier to execute for a lot of brands. And
we're doing a lot of brand deals on TikTok now. Because they're just not hard to do.
Yeah, they're just very easy. And so if one of these platforms that have like a huge audience and it's more focused around short form content, I think that could become a huge vulnerability for YouTube in the future, personally, because if they can figure out how to monetize it, make it so people are making more money in a more easy and simple way, I think that's going to be game changing. And I think that's what would disrupt the space.
I mean, I think that's what we're kind of already seeing on TikTok is like some people I talk to, they're like, why would I even want to be a YouTuber? It's much easier to be a TikToker. It's much easier to make content on TikTok, and that's just how it's kind of always been. Like, YouTube is definitely one of the hardest platforms. Thankfully, right now, it also has the most monetary upside. So there's a reason to put in the extra effort. But I mean, you're right. It'll be interesting to see, like, if there was but also YouTube does have shorts, and they are, it's easy to tell that they're betting heavily on shorts. So I would, if anything, say that YouTube would figure out rev split on shorts before TikTok does. I don't know though. I'd have to really study and see what they've been working on to give a super educated guess. But my gut's telling me, just because Google is the king of this type of stuff, and they've done it between Google AdWords and
they're the king of advertising, like digital advertising.
Exactly. Well, and they just have so much experience with the partnership program and paying out people through Google and stuff like that I would bet that they would have a rev split on YouTube Shorts up before TikTok does. That's what my gut's telling me. Also based on literally nothing but my gut.
I was hoping that they would have one immediately. Now that's tough to do when you're trying to prove out a market fit. How
do you even do it though? Because like there are no ads shown on your short. I don't even think Shorts has ads right now, right? Or
so no, it's like I don't think it does. They have a much smaller fund.
Well, it's probably like if your short is shown and they swipe up to go to the next one, aka your short didn't cause them to leave the platform, and then they're shown an ad. But even then, like they're not going to show an ad every other short. So it's probably like a ratio of like 10 shorts then an ad. So like what do you take the 10 shorts they watch before that ad and you divide the 50% that goes to creators amongst those 10? Like it's not even like clear cut because the ads aren't shown directly on it. It's like Facebook. They don't share the revenue they generate in feeds with creators, you know what I mean? So it's like, also, why would these companies want to? Facebook's printing tens of billions of dollars a year on these in-feed ads.
But they're going to have to. In my opinion, they're going to have to. Because I think for the first time, because you're now hearing Zuckerberg talking about creators a lot. You have, of course, Susan from YouTube doing it. Everyone is definitely starting to, talk more about the importance of creators on their platforms, because the truth is, these companies that are worth more than any other media company, in the history of, mankind, have not made it a priority to really rev share with all these different creators. But I believe that they're coming to the realization that people are on their platform. A big part of the majority of the people on their platforms are on there because of the content that they're consuming, which is by creators. 82% of the views on YouTube are from content creators, from YouTubers, and it's around
82. So you're saying 82% of the viewership that comes to YouTube is because a creator brought them there?
Yes, 82% of the views on YouTube are creator views, and then you have, on Instagram, it's around like 85%. And so Meta,
I know when I upload a video. Sorry, I did the thing where I cut you off again, but
I'm offended, but it's okay. The whole purpose of this interview is so I can talk as much as possible.
True, you're right. I should just put tape on my mouth. But like, I guess an example would be like when I upload, millions of people come straight from that notification and open up YouTube within the first couple of hours. So, yeah, I mean, that's an example of like creator bringing literally millions of people to the platform to get them to open it up purely because I uploaded a video.
Yeah, well, and so I think for these platforms to maintain viewership, I think whoever comes in and truly like competes with YouTube on monetization and rev sharing, I think that's one of many like factors that need to happen.
I don't see anyone though in the next 3 to 5 years that's competing with YouTube's rev share. Like, not you. There's just been so much time and there's so much money right now. I mean, like creators are making more money than ever. It's like, you know, even if TikTok launched it right out the gate, people are going to just be printing money, or maybe they are. I have to see. Like, the big thing is like shorts, because also there's not a clone of YouTube, so there's no one even that's like, oh well, if they just gave 70%, then people would switch over. That doesn't exist right now. But what does exist is the war between TikTok and Shorts, and that will be interesting. Like, which one do they monetize and rev split? Which one would do it, and like what does that look like? Because I could see a mini war going on there.
Sure,
but it's like it's technically in their best interest for neither of them to ever do rev split on Shorts or TikTok. You know what I mean? Because like then they just keep 100% of the money.
Well,
you know what
short
I mean?
term, but long term, could they end up being irrelevant because there's not as many creators supporting their platform with their content because they're finding other areas of monetization.
But TikTok's not going to die. I mean, we're all too hooked, and people are going to do it because, you know, I mean, I have friends who can get $100,000 for a single TikTok. You know, so they're still making money. You know,
it's interesting to see what they've done with like Douyin, you know, in China, where it's one of the top revenue generators when it comes to live shopping, and when it comes to like live streaming. And so, as live streaming becomes more and more of a thing, that'll be very interesting. Have you had success with live streaming?
Yeah, live streaming is great for selling stuff. If you dropped a new product, do a live stream, do something fun like little games people will pop in, and you know. What? Speaking of China, didn't that one guy sell like $1 billion worth of products or something?
Yeah. So that's Lipstick Brother. In 15 hours, it's $1.9 billion.
Is that through like? It's like their version of Amazon, and that was through affiliate links. It wasn't his products.
Yeah, so it wasn't his products. It was a variety of products, and it was on a holiday where there's a lot of discounts and live streaming products. And then Via, another one on Taobao, did, I think, 1.2 billion in 15 hours.
Jesus. Do you know how many concurrents they had?
I have no idea. I'll have to look at that. My team does.
See, like, if someone's moving that kind of freaking revenue, you would think, like...
All in Mandarin. It was all in China.
Yeah, I know. That's where it's like, why has someone not gone through... broke down like here's how many concurrents they had, here's every word he said, here's bro, that kind of revenue in a day is unfathomable,
and like, it's not another currency, those are US dollars.
Yeah, someone should do a research paper on this. Like, I want to know how long was he streaming, what did he do while he was streaming, what did he say, and like how many concurrents did, like, bro, if that guy was only averaging like 200,000 viewers throughout the time and he managed to move that kind of, he had to have been averaging over 1 million concurrents. There's just no world where he's not.
The creator that we're talking about before them, and over there, in China, they call them KOLs, key opinion leaders. I believe the record before Lipstick Brother, and I believe it is 1.9. I might be wrong. It might be 1.6, but is very close.
After this, he's going to do a research paper. He's going to send it to me so I can sell $1 billion tomorrow.
Yes. But before Lipstick Brother, it was Xinba, who was nicknamed the king of live streaming in China, and the record there was 305 million in a day of selling different products.
Get me those research papers.
Okay, we'll do. I'm
everything.
Sure. What I'll do is I'll make a call to our Shanghai office and get all the data, and I'll definitely share that with you.
Perfect.
That's actually one thing I really appreciate with you is I feel like we have a lot of back and forth on like looking at numbers, and that's fun.
Agreed. And I force you to, when someone sells $1 billion worth of product in 24 hours, as a guy who literally specializes in helping creators make more money, push you to research it. It seems like a no-brainer. You need a better circle around you. The fact that no one has brought you up to speed on this is abysmal. Fire your friends.
I gotta have you on as soon as possible again, because my self-esteem is just going through the roof. No, but no, you're right, and I'm sure we have much more data points on that. I will definitely have my team look at that, but it's insane. So you've had success with live streams and pushing product with live streams. When are we going to be seeing those types of numbers in the West? And what platform is going to be the winner when it comes to live streaming? I'm sorry, I'm asking you all these theoretical, futuristic questions.
It's fun. I enjoy it. I haven't thought about these things since the last time you came over. So it's fun to like get a refresher. I mean, right now it's just YouTube still. I mean, I don't know. We did like creator games on YouTube and we had over 1 million concurrent viewers.
That's amazing.
Like, yeah, that was great. And the thing is, like, right now it's just not really effective. The checkout sucks. There's not one tap checkout. Like, YouTube should just save. And I'm like yelling at them like every quarter. Like, this is abysmal. Like, when I upload a video and I'm like, and I drop new merch or a new chocolate bar or a new thing on Beastware, I should be able in the video to point to it and you just tap and it just says, "Are you sure you want to buy this?" You hit yes. That's it. And it ends up on your front doorstep. Nothing else. It should just then send to my Shopify account your address, your payment info, everything, and just that's it. Like, it should be frictionless. And the fact that it's not like that on YouTube is abysmal and it pisses me off. It's literally stupid that, like, they have the merch shelf below video still, and every time, like, if I'm watching a creative disruption video and below your video you have the merch shelf, I tap, I gotta go to your website, gotta enter my payment info, my shipping address. It's a lot of friction. It takes like 10, 15 minutes. And then if I'm watching pick a different video, I don't know, an ARAC video, same thing. I want to buy his shirt. No, it should just save my information from when I bought stuff below your video, and then I should just one tap below his video, and it be shipped to me. That's it. And so I don't think you're going to see that kinds of numbers until they get the friction down, which, I mean, YouTube could be a powerhouse for moving unfathomable amounts of product if they just got one tap checkout and they just made it more frictionless, in my opinion.
They should definitely have a MrBeast product team and dev team that just creates features for you specifically.
I agree. Because part of the problem is if you're like, let's say you do a merch shop, and you promote it 6 minutes in a video and it's a 10-minute video, those people have to leave the video if they're on their phone, open up Safari or click the description. Basically, it kills your retention. When you're promoting a product, you're saying, "Hey guys, click off this video and go to my website." Hurt my retention. And that's another problem. And that's partly why I don't like to promote many products in my videos, is because, or as little as possible, because I don't want to murder the retention on these videos I'm spending sometimes $3 to $4 million on. But you get it where I go, "Hey, buy this shirt. Just tap here. You don't have to leave the video. Just tap and then tap yes." Okay, back to the video. I don't have to kill my retention. They don't have to leave. They don't have to go to Safari. They don't have to close the YouTube app. My retention is spared, and they can still buy my product, and I can still move millions of dollars worth of volume. You know what I mean? And I think it's brutal.
Yeah, so it needs to be a frictionless, more simplified process.
That does not hurt retention.
Right. Well, so we've talked about this before. You're familiar with the success that Daryl and myself and our partners have seen with The Chosen. I'm noticing that there's other creators out there doing their own platforms. Just recently on our podcast, Jake Watson from Corridor Crew or Corridor Digital was on. And
how are they doing?
No, they're doing great. They're awesome. And if you play D&D, they're the best people to play with. When you're in LA, we'll go over and hang out with Sam, Nico, and Jake.
And they have a subscription platform, right?
Yes. And so
how much is it a month?
It's $4 a month. And what they've realized is that one person paying $4 a month to get the equivalent of that individual on YouTube, they need to watch several thousand videos. And so, have you ever thought of having your own platform or having your own site that is different than what you're doing on YouTube, that's different than what you're doing on TikTok, but because their series is called Son of a Dungeon, and there's a very niche crowd out there that want to see episodes around Dungeons and Dragons, but there's definitely a market fit, and there's a market, a huge demand for it. And
do you know how many paying subs they have?
I don't know how many paying subs that they have, but like it has, I believe, almost doubled their business.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I've thought a lot about, I love YouTube. YouTube's always going to be my main priority, but for like the hardcore fans, I'm not opposed to doing like a Beast World or some other thing that's like $10 a month, and we do exclusive content and some live streams and stuff like that, and just make this really kick-ass things for people who want more of us. Because I mean, like we're talking about, the videos are getting so expensive that that would be a great way to generate more revenue for them and more predictable revenue. Because like these videos are so big and we're working on so many that like if I knew like, hey, I have 10,000 or 100,000 subscribers paying $10 a month, I have a guaranteed $1 million coming in next month from this thing. That would allow me to be a little bit more aggressive and do bigger videos on the main channel. So if I did do it, the ultimate goal would be to use the money to make better main channel videos, but also obviously add value because everything we do has got to be great. But yeah, no, actually, I'm honestly seriously considering it. I think it would be a good idea.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, they're the only creator that I know that has hired like data scientists and data engineers. I mean, you're really looking at the details and figuring out how do you optimize to be successful, and your mentality and your work ethic. It's just amazing that you just keep pushing these boundaries and you keep doing things that, as we mentioned earlier, creators haven't imagined doing, but TV production companies haven't imagined doing, and you're working at a speed that no one can compete with. How is that going to change things across the industry? I mean, this is obviously something I think Joe Rogan has brought up to you in the past as well, and others. Just fascinated with the amount of content you're pushing out there and how high quality the content is. And not to give you a question to flatter yourself, but I mean, is it going to get to the point where there's other creators that are doing this, where how Netflix, Amazon, and any video platform,
Paramount,
that are buying content, they're going to have to look at things differently?
Yeah, see, I'd rather I ask you that question and you answer it, because I don't like trying to gas myself up or whatever.
Okay,
but,
I'll respond to that question. I think the stuff that you're doing is going to change everything in entertainment history, and in the future. Yes, 100%. Because how many of these like long form platforms like the SVODs that are out there that are able to create this much content this fast at this level of production value this quickly? Usually people go in and they film their series, they take their time, as much time as they need to do that. But when I meet with you and your team, you're all moving at 100 miles an hour all the time, and I question if that's sustainable. But more and more I speak to you, and every year that goes by, you're breaking records over and over again. And so I truly believe that people are going to look at this as a data point and try to figure out, what do they change systematically to be able to do what you're doing?
I would love to work with well, I wouldn't. I don't have time to do it, but it would be funny to like sit on set of like a Netflix production or some other production and just kind of compare how they do things to us. Because anytime I work with a traditional production crew, it's always way more expensive, way longer lead times, way longer everything, and a lot less pivotability, like the ability to pivot and change things last minute. And so I couldn't imagine, honestly. But also, also if what we had to film was scripted, because what we do is non-scripted, so you have to plan for a bunch of variables that you can't control, blah blah. If what we did was scripted, holy shit, this stuff would be easy to pump out. Like no tomorrow.
Really?
Scripted stuff has to be the easiest thing on the planet. Yeah, because you already know what's coming. You know what I mean? Like the hard part is like figuring out like all the variables for someone you don't know, and you don't know what they're gonna do, and you don't know what they're gonna say, and you don't know how they're gonna act. But if you could tell someone what to say and how to act, then it's like easy as hell. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's I was not expecting that. I expected that would actually take longer, but I guess the unscripted element, there's a lot of surprises and curveballs that come with that. I mean, you're not only renting cruise ships, but you're buying and giving away islands.
Well, we're terraforming an island. This island, we have to import a couple hundred trees because it was uglier in person than online. We're importing like 10,000 pounds of sand. We're having to build the beach. We're building a pier on it. We have to build enough unique scenes because some of the challenges require us going across the island. We don't want it to just be a beach and grass, so we're building unique scenes throughout it with random structures and stuff like that. I mean, like, we're literally terraforming an island. You know what I mean? No one's ever gonna do what we're doing. Like we're idiots, right? Like,
I mean, well, you have a lot of people on your team that understand construction too and development, and which is, I don't think most creators out there.
I wouldn't recommend it. It's difficult, but it's like to buy an island. Like when you picture a private island, what you're picturing in your head is like $10+ million. I don't have that kind of budget. I need to spend like $1 million on an island and then $500,000 terraforming it, importing sand, importing trees, making it look pretty. And so, yeah, it's like if I want to do this video and I want to do it right, like I basically have to buy a cheap island and then build a nice island, build an irrigation system so the trees don't die, build a beach, build a pier, build buildings on it, because that's cheaper than just buying an already done island.
Wow. I see. That's a question I would have never asked myself. Of like, what's more expensive, an island that already has a beach, or buying an island and making a beach?
Exactly, because you can buy islands that are just rocks, and then you can import 10,000 pounds of sand, a couple hundred trees, build an irrigation system, put shrubbery on it, build some buildings, and there you go. Now it's a great private island. You know what I mean?
That's amazing. That's just a whole other level of thinking. So as we wrap up, I want to ask you about your businesses. Like, you have Beast Burger, you have your Feastables. What are you the most excited about right now when it comes to like your brands? Because you've proven to not only build your own Hollywood, but you're also building a bunch of brands too.
I'm excited. Feastables is going to launch in thousands of stores later this year. I can't say which ones, but I'm excited about that because I call it like IRL thumbnails. Like when I was 13, if I walked into, we'll just say hypothetically a 7-Eleven gas station, parents are getting gas, I walk in there. If I stole a Hershey's bar and a PewDiePie bar, I'm buying the PewDiePie bar 100 times out of 100 times. Like, that's the coolest thing ever to me. If I'm 13, 14, 15, 16, it's like, oh my gosh, why? Especially if it tastes just as good, high quality ingredients, it's a good chocolate bar, right? I'm buying it every day of the week. And so I think we're going to get the similar effect as we start to we've done over $10 million in sales, and we're not even in retail yet. That's just all straight online.
That's amazing. Yeah, all around the Feastables.
Yeah, just around Feastables. And so I think, I call it IRL thumbnails when our audience is walking through these stores and they see it, because people buy chocolate bars. They do crazy amounts of revenue every year. Why would they buy a normal one when they could buy one of their favorite creators? You know what I mean? Because I know if I was in their shoes, I would do the same thing in a heartbeat. And it's cool. It's really cool. And our bars are high quality ingredients and they're not super processed and they taste great. So it's like, anyways, I'm excited to get our bars in as many retail stores as possible and just hopefully expand it to where we're in 10,000 different locations one day. And I think, like I said, IRL thumbnails, the fact that it's ours and, they're great quality and they taste great, I think it's just going to destroy.
I agree. I love the Feastables products. Like, they're great. And I subscribed to 69420. By the way, that's it for everyone that's hearing that listening. That is the phone number that you text to get updates on Feastables. And it's great.
If you text Feast to 69420, then we can spam you. I don't know how, but that phone number was for sale.
Hey, so last question, being, that we discussed, your successes and you're someone that so many creators out there idolize. Who, did you idolize growing up? It doesn't have to be a creator, whether it's an inventor or business executive. You mentioned Steve Jobs earlier.
It kind of changes throughout the years. I think, obviously PewDiePie, just because I liked how humble he was and how it didn't go to his head. At one point, when I was really young, it was even like the Paul brothers a little bit. The fact that like Logan made like a video every day for 500 days kind of just helped me realize like, if you want it, you can make it happen. Stop being a lazy, I don't know if I'm allowed to swear.
You're allowed to
Stop being lazy. We'll go with that. And then, after that, it was, a lot of like Elon and Steve Jobs, like probably the last few years have been the people I look up to the most. Just like Steve, he's mean to his employees. I don't think he should have been. He could have been nice and accomplished as much, in my opinion. But his unrelenting obsession with making a great product and like this iPhone, iPhone's like the most successful product in history ever created. You know what I mean? And it's just so beautiful and so far ahead of its time. And he was so just obsessed with making a great product. And I want to have that kind of obsession with videos. I want to make the best video, period. No matter what, the best videos on the fucking planet. No excuses. And so Steve really inspires me in that way. And then Elon and just the way that, he built SpaceX, Tesla at the same time. Like that also kind of, opened my eyes that like really anything's possible. It's just kind of like, how bad do you want it? You know what I mean? If he can build a company that's going to put people on Mars while also weaning us off of gas cars at the same time, you know, I can get a YouTube video out the door. You know what I mean?
Wow. No, that's amazing. And it's amazing who inspires you and what drives you. You once told me that your goal was to make $1 billion and to give it all away. What's your updated goal in the last couple of years?
Well, I know that dying with a bunch of money is a complete waste of time, or not a waste of time. It's just dumb. You know what I mean? I enjoy helping people, and so if I'm gonna spend my whole life making money just because it's kind of fun, before I die, I want to give literally 100% of everything I own away. Because just why not? Who cares? After I'm dead, I'm dead. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't. Instead of putting a dollar amount on it, now it's more just I just want to make as much money as I can in my life, and then do as much good with that money before I die. That's basically what I want to do.
Wow, that's beautiful. Jimmy, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
And to be a part of this celebration of Creator Day, April 23rd. You know, we celebrate the anniversary of like the first YouTube video, which is, do you know which video that is?
Yeah, of course. Meet me at the zoo.
Yeah, meet me at the zoo. Just like that video is historic. I really believe the stuff that you're doing is going to be stuff that's not just...
Oh my gosh.
Hey, let me do
Say
this.
something
let me do
mean.
This. Hey, I'm not sucking up.
I'm leaving.
Hey. Well, anyways, he's still on. He just turned off his camera. But I think what Jimmy's doing is historic, and it's going to change how entertainment works, and it's going to be something that's not going to be remembered for decades. But I think it's going to be what he is doing is going to be remembered for over a century. And so, thank you so much for tuning in. Please like this video and subscribe, and see you all soon.